Among the prominent decisions taken today is the appointment of the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, which constitutionally is the duty of Mr. President in consultation with National Council of State. So in keeping with that statutory provisions, Mr. President today recommended to Council of State Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan.
Professor Joash Amupitan from Kogi State actually is being considered. I think that candidate actually fits the bill. I've seen the resume of that candidate, looks very fantastic. A professor of law, I mean, he's done a little bit of electoral matters here and there, has a very good resume. Yeah, whether the person comes from the north, south, east, or west doesn't matter. But of course, a whole lot of Nigerians will have problems with a Yoruba-speaking president actually nominating someone who's Yoruba. But let's be very factual here. If he does get it, he's coming from Kogi State, though from the Yoruba-speaking part of Kogi State. But is that what Nigerians are looking at for? No, we need someone who can conduct credible elections for a whole lot of Nigerians. And I can tell you that if it's in terms of the resume, he actually fits the bill. Nigerians should shove aside the issues. I mean, if we have a President Buhari having a northerner as INEC chairman, why shouldn't we have a President Tinubu from the southwest also having someone who's Yoruba-speaking?
We have somebody who is highly known despite his achievements, despite how solid he is in academics. Very few people know him in terms of, because he's not the noisy type. He does his job quietly, and aside from people in senior lawyers, for example, have a lot of respect for him, for what he has done in that area. So it's absolutely a perfect fit.
What do we expect of Prof. Amupitan? I think his legacy will be he will let Nigerians elect their leaders. And this is key. He's not going to be the INEC chairman that will say, go to court. Go to court. We're going to support Amupitan with prayers. He's a hard worker. He's dedicated. And as the governor of our state pointed out, he's a man of integrity.
Nigeria stands once again at the crossroads of democracy. The air is thick with expectation. The memories of the 2023 election still fresh, promises unfulfilled, trust broken, and questions unanswered. Now a new man takes the stage. Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan, SAN, a legal scholar, respected academic, now the newly appointed chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. But the question ringing across the nation is simple. Can he carry the weight of Nigeria's democracy? Can he rebuild public trust in a system many Nigerians now called rigged before it begins? Or will he become another name in a long list of men who started with hope and ended in controversy? This is the story of the man, the mandate, and the mountain before him. Welcome to this video. Can Joash Ojo Amupitan save INEC? To understand the task before Joash Amupitan, we must first understand the man himself. Born in Kogi State, Amupitan's rise wasn't carved in politics. It was built in the classroom and in the courtroom. A professor of law, dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Ilorin, and a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, he has spent decades teaching, researching, and defending the rule of law. He's been called a man of integrity, a scholar of rare depths, and a stickler for constitutional order. His book on human rights and governance are cited across legal faculties in Nigeria. But now his textbooks mean little, because at INEC, theory meets reality. For the first time, Amupitan steps out of the quiet world of academia into the unpredictable battlefield of Nigerian politics, a space where integrity is often tested and neutrality is a daily fight. Supporters describe him as apolitical and upright. Critics, however, fear that those very traits might make him too gentle for Nigeria's rough political terrain. He is replacing Professor Mahmood Yakubu, a man whose legacy remains controversial, praised for logistical reforms, but condemned for credibility gaps in the 2023 elections. Now, Joash Omupitan must not only manage an election, he must restore faith in democracy itself. The Independent National Electoral Commission is not just another government agency. It is the heartbeat of Nigerian's democracy. Its chairman carries an enormous constitutional burden to conduct free, fair and credible elections across 36 states and the FCT in a country where politics often feels like warfare. For Omupitan, the mandate is clear but doubting. Oversee transparent elections, free from manipulation, ensure technological credibility. After BVAS and IRF's failure, shock voters' confidence. Protect INEC's independence from executive interference and rebuild public trust. Discusses commodity in Nigerian politics. Nigerian's democracy is bleeding from deep wounds. Ballot snatching, voter suppression, judicial reversals, and low voter turnouts. The 2023 election saw a record number of legal challenges, and for many Nigerians, the phrase free and fair now feels like a fairy tale. Omupitan must fix this, and fast. The 2027 general elections are barely 2 years away. Every decision he makes from now, from appointment of resident electoral commissioners to how BVAS machines are deployed, will determine whether Nigerians return to the polls with hope or with apathy. On paper, Joash Omupitan seems like the perfect man for the job. He is intelligent, principled and disciplined, a man who knows the Constitution like scripture and believes deeply in the rule of law. Let's look at his strengths. First, legal brilliance. He can interpret, defend, and refine the electoral framework. Academic credibility up next on the list. His independence of thought is respected across Nigeria's legal community. Moral authority last on the list. As a senior advocate of Nigeria, he commands respect in political and judicial circles alike. But the INEC chairmanship is not a classroom, and Nigerian's democracy is not a textbook. The storms he faces are far from theoretical. Political interference from powerful interests who sees elections as war, institutional rots within INEC, one of the challenges. From compromised staff to internal sabotage, public distrust from citizens who no longer believe their votes count, logistical nightmare in remote or volatile regions where security and accessibility collide. His predecessor, Mahmood Yakubu, learned these the hard way. Despite strong reforms like BVAS, his legacy was dethroned by allegations of result manipulation and late uploads. Nigerians remember one phrase, technical glitch. That phrase became a symbol of broken promise. And now, Omupitan must ensure Nigerians never hear it again. But does intellect alone prepare one for such chaos? Can a man who has spent decades interpreting law suddenly master the logistics of 176,000 polling units and 93 million registered voters across the country? This is where Omupitan's greatest test lies, translating knowledge into action and ideals into results. The INEC chairmanship is often described as the most dangerous civilian job in Nigeria, and for good reason. From the day he will be officially confirmed by the National Assembly, Omupitan will step into a mild field of political tension. The first source of pressure for him will be the presidency. As the appointee-in-chief, President Bola Tinubu's shadow looms large around him. While the Constitution grants INEC independence, history shows how subtle executive influence can shape elections. Through budgets, logistics, and appointment of resident electoral commissioners. Even if Omupitan means well, can he resist such pressure? Can he say no to those who made him chairman? The second source of pressure is the political class. The governors, lawmakers, and party chieftains view elections as survival battle. They will call, they will lobby, and they will even threaten. Every local government office becomes a pawn in their chessboard of influence. The third source, the Nigerian public. After the 2023 election, the people are angry, skeptical, vocal and unforgiving. Civil society would dissect his very statement. The media would judge his every move. The opposition will accuse him before he even acts. And then, there is the fourth source of pressure. Within INEC itself, over 16,000 staff scattered across Nigeria. Some patriotic, others compromised. Amupitan must clean house, motivate workers, and build a culture of transparency. Otherwise, internal sabotage could destroy him from within. Every election chairman before him has faced the same trap, between pleasing the powerful and serving the people. Atahiru Jega earned the praise for standing tall in 2015. Mahmood Yakubu lost credibility for perceived compromise in 2023. Now Amupitan stand at the same fork in the road. History watching closely. Nigerians are whispering, will he be different from others? Despite the fears, one truth remains. Every new beginning carries a chance for redemption. INEC is broken truly, but not beyond repair. And with the emergence of Joash Ojo Amupitan, if bold enough, could be the reformer Nigerians have been waiting for. His task is monumental, but the roadmap is clear. First, rebuild institutional independence. He must draw a firm line between INEC and Asurok. Financial autonomy, transparent recruitment, and open communication with civil society will be his strongest shields. If the presidency or governors sense weakness, the commission's credibility would vanish before the next election cycle begins. 2. Mobilize and secure technology. After the BVAS controversy, the people demands proof, not promises. Joash Omupitan must ensure real-time results uploads, public data access, and airtight security systems. No more technical glitch. No more last-minute excuses. And 3. INEC's biggest problem is not software, it is trust. He must communicate clearly, regularly, and honestly. Let Nigerians see the man behind the office, not just the logo. When errors occur, admit them. When progress happens, explain it. Transparency will be the best ally it can ever have. Number 4. Protect the staff, punish the corrupt. The commission must reward professionalism and punish betrayal. If INEC officers see that corruption comes with consequences, discipline will spread organically. Nigerians' democracy can be saved, but not by slogans or speeches. It will be saved by courage, transparency, and the refusal to bend to power. When Joash Ojo Amupitan raised his hand to take the oath of office, he will not just be accepting a job, he will be accepting a burden that could define his legacy and Nigerian's future. He stands now where history meets expectation, where integrity must battle influence, where silence can be as dangerous as compromise. The 2027 election will not just test Nigerians' democracy, they will test Amupitan's soul. Will he rise above the pressure, or will he become another chapter in the long story of broken trust? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, if Joash Omupitan can protect the sanity of the ballot box, he will not only redeem INEC, he will restore hope in Nigerians' democracy. And that will be a victory greater than any election. What do you think at this point in this video? Can Professor Joash Ojo Amupitan truly save Nigeria from political control? Or has Nigerians' democracy become too compromised for one man to fix? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe, because understanding the politics of today is the only way to shape the democracy of tomorrow. This is Nigeria, and the story continues.